I understand the next call is a split call. The Honourable Ruth Dyson.
You understand correctly, Mr Speaker, and thank you for the pleasure of speaking in this. Can I just make it clear to the National Party members who seem a bit puzzled, judging by the contribution from the member who's just resumed her seat, that Labor is supporting this legislation, and we've said that consistently throughout our contribution in this part of the debate. The member also mentioned the fact that it would be very puzzling if anybody was opposed to the intention of the bill, which is to get more data sharing from ACC and Work and Income and other private agencies. And I thought, I wonder where she's been for the last little while, because there has been a lot of data sharing from ACC and Work and Income particularly, and actually it wasn't appropriate data sharing. It was data sharing private information for people who had no idea that their personal files were going to be sent to entirely the wrong person. So there is a degree of anxiety, there is a lack of trust in the integrity of the systems that this legislation is proposing to expand to allow for better data sharing. So that's the first point I want to make. Mr Speaker, the other is even more serious in that we have had a minister who has actually deliberately and in a considered way openly released the private information of Work and Income clients. And I think that's an abuse of the privilege that ministers have. Ministers get all sorts of information across their desks, as all the ministers in the government would know. And for a minister, Work and Income Minister, Paula Bennett, to hear criticism of her attack on the training incentive allowance, which had previously allowed particularly women on the domestic purposes benefit to go to university, get a degree and have a much better chance of a stronger career with better income in future. The training incentive allowance was the support for those women on the DPB. Paula Bennett herself had benefited from it. She scrapped it. When some women complained about it, she released their private details to the media and saw no problem with that. So, Mr Speaker, this is an example of why there has been considerable caution expressed and acted on by the Select Committee because of abuses and breaches of privacy considerations in the past. We heard from the Green Party member Jan Logan that their party's concerns are so great that they are unable to support the bill. I know that they support the intent of this bill, which is to give better responses from government agencies where a number of agencies are dealing with one person or one family. Mr Speaker, in the short time remaining, the other concern that I want to address is actually one of disappointment in the Minister in whose name this bill is standing before the House. And that is because her reputation has been in the past that she's quite rigorous and takes a particularly broad perspective on issues to make sure that every detail is considered and attended to. This is actually a piecemeal approach to a comprehensive problem, and I'm disappointed that the Minister chose to take that. We have a Law Commission report. We know that we have issues, particularly in New Zealand, with vulnerable children. The Law Commission proposed a comprehensive standalone piece of legislation to deal with that issue, and this legislation that we're considering falls short of the mark. Mr Speaker, I know the Select Committee worked very hard on this, and I want to commend Tim McIndoe as the chair of that committee. I'm sorry he's no longer in that position because he came to be very well regarded by the other members of the Select Committee. I haven't served on it myself, but that's certainly the reputation that he's got. But I know that with a bill like this, you have to weigh up the benefits that can be gained from one agency being able to access information quickly and in a secure way about a person with whom they're dealing. So we know that Housing New Zealand might have information, ACC might, Work and Income, the health system, let alone other non-government organisations. So The theory behind the legislation is sound. It doesn't address the problem that Minister Judith Collins paraded before the public. It doesn't address the issues with vulnerable children. It is a piecemeal approach, but it's a step in the right direction, and as such we'll be supporting it.
I call David Clendon.
Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, it's been interesting listening to this debate tonight and how often reference or the word balance has popped up. The